So, Captain America. Yeah, how about that Captain America? I'm sure you heard the big deal. It's been all over the news the last couple days. It kind of takes place in this book, Captain America #1. I believe actually the title is Steve Rogers, Captain America #1. At the end of the book, Cap says, this panel is all over the internets. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it. Hail Hydra. The story is written by Nick Spencer, and the big to-do, of course, is Cap being a double agent. And the internet has gone nuts. Completely and batshit nuts. Maybe rightfully so. Probably not. Because the thing with comics is that nothing is permanent. Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Right? This whole thing with Cap, you know, the one thing about me is, let's not rush to judgment. I just had a show where I say we gotta kind of hold back, roll back our expectations. Maybe I should have said we have to sort of not rush to judgments. And maybe this is one of those cases. And usually I will defend that whole not rush to judgment stance, especially when a story hasn't come out yet, or hasn't fully come out yet. In this case, this story is just developing. I mean, this is the first issue of Captain America. I'm looking at the book. It's down here. This is the first issue of Steve Rogers, Captain America. However, this story really kind of starts in Avengers Standoff Assault on Pleasant Hill, and Avengers Standoff Welcome to Pleasant Hill #1. Steve, all this time, has been, for a long time, not all this time, Steve has been an old man for a while now. And in this story, Standoff Assault on Pleasant Hill, Steve gets his youth given back to him by fragments of a cosmic cube. The name of the cosmic cube is a kind of a weird name. Kobik. Okay, so there's a cosmic cube that's shattered out there, it's been joined together, and the cosmic cube now is called Kobik. This cosmic cube has given Steve not only his super soldier serum back, but his youth as well. So Cap, in all essence, is back. I say all this because more than likely, this is part of the story of Cap being a double agent. Going back to Captain America, Steve is on a mission, and throughout there's a sub-story that goes on about Steve's mom and dad, and Steve's dad hitting his mom, and it takes place in the 20s or the 30s. I believe it's the 20s, 1926 to be exact. Okay, and I'm just rambling on here, but in this story of Captain America #1, Steve's mom is approached eventually by the end of the story, an agent of Hydra. Again, this is in 26. So this story is woven throughout Captain America #1. And this is what I'm trying so hard to succinctly spit out. So this isn't just some random thing where Cap is just saying it as a double agent, oh, hail Hydra. Marvel and Nick Spencer have woven this story together to show that, for all intent and purposes, is an agent of Hydra. Steve is an agent of Hydra. Now, whether this cosmic cube, and I believe this is probably going to happen, is responsible for these memories, like this cosmic cube has imprinted Steve with some false memories. I believe that's what's going to happen here, but no matter what the story is, whether it's in 6 months, it's a year, or 2 years, Steve Rogers that we know is going to come back as Steve Rogers that we all know and love. So, in that regard, Internet has got to settle the fuck down. Let's not be sending death threats to anybody. The costume is a terrible design. Let's not send any death threats. I'm not happy about this. No reason, again, for the 3rd time, no reason to send death threats. We can dial our rage back a little bit. It's okay to be upset. I'm not taking, like I say to my kids when they get pissed off at me, man, God bless you. You can be mad. But at some point, you got to get over your anger. That being said, there's 2 things that annoy me about this whole Captain America Agent of Hydra thing. Number one, Marvel comes out with this thing, Cap being a double agent, the same week that DC comes out with Rebirth. Now, granted, Marvel has had this story arc probably in the works for a couple months now. It's not as though this story has, you know, Marvel found out about Rebirth and all of a sudden, oh, by the way, Captain America is a double agent. No, this story has been in the works. The timing, though, is awful for a couple different reasons. So, DC's got a good week with Rebirth, and God forbid if your competitor just has a few moments of positive press. I mean, has our world become so cutthroat that because DC got some good press, you got to put out something to negate that? I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think it speaks more about who I am as a person than DC, Marvel, Warner Brothers, and Disney. But it just smacks of childness when the beginning of the week, DC's got a little wave going from DC Universe Rebirth #1. Marvel's got to come out, and at the end of the week, everybody's talking about how Captain America is a double agent. I know the saying that even bad press is good press. I'm not a believer of that. And in this case, I don't believe that everybody talking about Captain America being a double agent suits Marvel's case. I don't. Which leads me to my next point, being that Cap right now, especially 3 weeks after the high of Captain America Civil War, Cap right now is our only icon that we can look up to, he's not, as he's proved in Civil War, he's not infallible, but he's pretty goddamn close. We don't have Superman anymore because Superman is just a whiny, dark person just like everybody else. Superman is so flawed at this point. He's worse than most of us. So that leaves us with Cap, and especially with Cap, you can look up to, you know, he's established that Cap is always going to do the right thing. Even that little bit of part with him not telling Tony about Winter Soldier killing his folks in Civil War, even that you can forgive. Cap does the right thing. They've established that in these movies, which they've gone out of their way to establish, and it's like Marvel is doing the complete opposite in their books. Marvel has the perfect opportunity to capitalize on the synergy that they've created with the Marvel movie universe, and they do the antithesis with Captain America, making him a Hydra agent. It could very well turn out to be a great story, and maybe it will. I'm not saying that. It's just the timing of this story is awful. When you have your top hero, your infallible hero in the movies, he's Cap, man, and you're gonna do the complete opposite of him in the books. It's the wrong move, man, and I don't give a shit that everybody's talking about it. Big fucking deal. Everybody's not talking about it in the positive way. I think it's a bad move. And I believe in this case that most people are right to be a little upset about what's going on with Cap. It's the wrong move. 5 months from now, 6 months from now, when Cap is a little bit off the radar, they want to do this story, then bring it up. But there's just something so inorganic, top to bottom, about this story, about the story arc, about how it's marketed. The whole thing just sucks. And it's disappointing, to be honest with you. I'm disappointed in Marvel. You know? It's Cap, man. And we need, while it is good to have heroes that you can relate to, you need somebody to look up to, and Cap is that, or was that, and making him, of all things, a Hydra agent. And I know, I started this thing off by saying, I know in 6 months, a year, 2 years, Rodgers is going to come back. Yes, I know that. But man, you're not riding this right. It's just a bad move. It's disappointing. It really is.